Hey everyone, I'm Bretton,
And I'm Dan.
and we're from localmovers.com. And today we're going to talk about how you can grow leads into your website. So, we talked last time about getting a website up and going and how to make it really good and an impressive place, but now we've got to get eyeballs on that page. So, first, let's talk a little bit about ad buying because I know you have some strong opinions about that, and then we'll go into some of the other potential ways to get customers outside of that. But at the end of the day, once you start getting scale, you're gonna be working your butt off actually doing moves, and you'll have less time for that type of in-person customer development. And so you're going to have to rely on some paid customer acquisition,
Yep.
aka buying ads.
Yep. Absolutely critical in today's day and age to be, to get to the top of the Google search results, even maybe even to be seen. You're going to need to put some ads out there and start to understand. We've got a lot of programs at localmovers.com/academy of just step-by-step guides in terms of buying ads. But it's a way that you can, bring a lot of volume in, but you can also spend a lot of money. And so we just have to think about it again as like another channel. So if we think back to originally, we were on platforms, we've kind of made that into one channel. Maybe we've got postcards, business cards, networking. That's like another channel. We should be measuring these in each, like in our Excel sheet or whatnot, of like, okay, this lead came in. How much money did I spend on whether it's postcards or business cards? On the platforms, it's basically pure money. Like you're not really spending anything, but you're not getting as much. You're only getting paid a certain amount per hour.
Right.
But then when it goes to Google, you need to look at like, okay, I ran $200 worth of Google ads. How many jobs did I get from that? And
Yep.
like what's the cost to acquire those customers? So you really want to measure that. But just think about it again like another channel, and you want to kind of measure all these different channels. And then look, some will, as you scale, will kind of plateau, right? So maybe in terms of mailing out postcards or handing out business cards, there's only like a certain amount you can do with that. You're going to be busy doing the moves, and so maybe online gets you, you can do some of that, but then it kind of plateaus. And then online, you'll be able to go to some degree, and then it might also plateau. You just want to be measuring that and make sure it's not always in like a dollar in, a dollar out. It might at the beginning be fruitful, and then as you get to a certain amount, you have to put a lot more money in to get more leads, and so you're gonna have to just get more creative around those channels.
Yeah. The good news is that these channels can drive you customers. The bad news is once you get this ad funnel going, you basically have to check it every day. You
Yep.
cannot let it run freely, otherwise you will lose money. And so this becomes a very burdensome thing for sure, but it also becomes a real source of margin if you're able to run ads more effectively. And we can talk a lot about targeting different keywords and how to use the tools that Google provides and other tools to figure out exactly what keywords you should go after because there's many options. There are many different types of moves: local moves, long distance moves, specialty moves where you're looking moving safes. Maybe there are a lot of gun safes in your area. If they're
Yep.
not, it doesn't make sense to advertise for that. If you are in a very affluent area, maybe you do moving antiques or high end items or fine art, or you do like luxury moving or elite moving, right? In Beverly Hills, it makes sense to run an ad for luxury moving or elite moving.
Yep.
In a small rural American town, that's probably not what you should run. And you have to also think about which customers you're hitting. If you're moving, like if you're running ads for cheapest movers in XYZ city or XYZ area, you're going to get customers who are looking for cheapest movers in XYZ city, XYZ area. Maybe you can still make money at what the price point is there, and you're going to have to set a lower price point for those moves than you would for a more luxury mover or something else different from that. So you do have to think about what customers am I getting with what terms and what area and what prices am I charging them, and all that can become very overwhelming. But the fundamental thing is you have to get ads up, and there are really two big places to put up ads. One is the Google ecosystem. The other one is the Meta ecosystem or Facebook ecosystem, which covers Facebook and Instagram. Yelp also offers a robust ad buying solution on there as well. So you can get sponsored listings on Yelp as well. So if I were just getting started, I would pick a few very basic, obvious search terms like movers in XYZ city, and I run them for myself on the top three platforms: Yelp, Google, and Facebook. Now, there's a really key insight about the Facebook ecosystem. I still call it Facebook because I'm an old fogey, but people call it Meta, whatever. Mark Zuckerberg, God bless him for whatever insane things he's doing over there. God knows. But the thing about Facebook ads, they're a little bit different from those other platforms because we've actually spent quite a lot of money on
Yep.
ads there, and we
Yep.
learned some really important things. I
Yep.
think you learned a lot about what the media specifically needs to be in order
Yep.
to be successful on that platform.
Totally, yeah. So you definitely need to be videos or whatever they're promoting currently. And so what you want to do is be capturing in your moves these types of things, just showing, your company and that you're out there and that you're moving. And then when they click through, it's just a direct link to your website, takes them to like maybe a landing page or a form that they're going to be able to be converted on. So
I mean, I think because making videos is fundamentally harder, If you're able to do it, you can edge out the competition who's not willing to go the extra mile. And if you're taking the effort, it could be a selfie video or a small video of a move completed or a video of a happy customer. You have to work on it. If you can't get anything, go to localmovers.com/AI and just pump out some AI slop video. It's not the best thing in the world, but at least you'll get a video asset. We call it an asset in the business, but it's literally just a video, okay? And you can then put some text over it using the tools, and you can run it. And the great thing about this little short video reel, which is one of the most popular places, 'cause people are just doing this with their thumb all day, or if they're sitting there with their TikTok, they're just staring at it, swiping for them. God bless them. And you can use that same video in your TikTok feed. You can use the same video in your YouTube feed, and you can use the same video in your Instagram feed. So all those shorts, those reels, whatever they're called on the different platforms, you target all three of those areas. But to get started with, we still fundamentally recommend doing the very simple AdWords text ads, because it's easy. It's integrated with your website with Google Analytics, so you can see how your ads are performing for different terms and different words. Localmovers.com/academy, link below. We've got more resources for setting that up. But at the end of the day, it's very important that you have a very strong floor and foundation from organic traffic, which means people that you door knocked on or called or got referred to you from realtors, or now you've got all your Thumbtack, movinghelp.com, TaskRabbit, Dolly, etc. going. And we'll talk in a later episode about stuff like whether or not to buy a truck or when to buy a truck or what to do about truck and fleet. But there's a similar consideration here with buying ads, which is the reality is in most American cities, you're looking at 100, $200 or something before you actually acquire a customer. So that means you got to be willing to put out, let's say you put out $1,000 and it's $200 per customer, right? So now you got 5 customers for that $1,000. So you got to then make sure that you got enough margin to make it worth it. So if you're running sub 20% margin on $1,000 jobs, you cannot afford to do this. You're going to lose your shirt, right? So you got to be making sure you got like even 30% margin on your $1,000 job to cover that acquisition cost. So now your calculation changes a little bit, right? You take home $300 from that $1,000 job, you're only keeping $100 because you're doing 200. This is why it's really important to have this spreadsheet and track all your different funnels, see where your leads coming from, and making sure that you're putting your money and your effort into the ones that give you the highest margin.
And so you really need to kind of get into the platform and kind of understand what's going on. Video content obviously is going to perform better. Short video, things that are funny, unique and specialty moves. Right? If you're moving a safe, take a short video of that. If you're moving a mobile home trailer, take a short video of that. That type of content is going to get picked up on social. It's going to get picked up on Google because it's interesting and nobody else has. It's very unique. This thing does not scale linearly, and that was the question I was going to ask you about. Is how valuable are these 5-star reviews and just that part around your brand in Google relative to ad spend? Like, and how do you think about ads as it relates to organic content? Like, is it, I don't know, kind of the gasoline you put on, or like, how should we be thinking about the number of reviews that we get for customers and how much effort we focus there and maybe money spent there versus just pure ad buy on these platforms?
Yeah, I mean, Google Maps is just clearly so dominant in local search, and they decide how to return the businesses in what order. And a large part of that is often, but not always, because they will shake up the results to give everyone a chance. A lot of that is just how many 5-star reviews you've got on your Google Maps page. So these ads, they're it's painful, right? Like I said, you got $1,000 job, you spent $200 to acquire the customer. Your base margin after all your costs are baked in. Even if you can get to $300 out of that, you're only left with $100 in your pocket. So it's really important as you do this funnel stuff that you set things up right. And it's complicated enough that we do offer consulting for this, for businesses that are at that stage, or partners of our Local Mover Academy. And if you go to localmover.com/academy, and check out, we're actually running some interesting programs to help moving companies grow and launch.
Yeah, I mean, I think to sum that up, really, it's just about those 5-star reviews. In the kind of the age of AI, those algorithms are going to be able to go and read every review. So there's nothing really to hide. But this is where you can shine, right? You've been developing since the early stage these 5-star reviews. Maybe now you're up to 50. This is like really kind of unprecedented for you, and it really matters. I think every customer interaction that you do this. One other thing that I'd say, just from the learning that we've had and spending so much on ads, is when you start doing a lot of paid acquisition, you can also get lower quality traffic. You get customers who are just like clicking on the first thing that comes through. They're desperate. They may maybe not fully understand. Maybe they don't like your process. And so they might just go and give you a 1-star review because they're not happy that they didn't get the cheapest possible move and they
Yep.
called you. And so that's another thing to be wary of when you're doing this paid acquisition. And so tuning the keywords properly, maybe to like safe moves or things that you're starting to branch out and specialize in, will
Absolutely.
bring that good content up versus just paying a lot of money to get the first click that might not be a customer that you really even want.
And to the extent that you're able to micro target, which has been restricted more on Facebook and Google based on the changing landscape and laws, but to the extent that you're able to run ads in affluent neighborhoods, it is always better to run ads against the most affluent customer set on these platforms that you
Totally,
can find.
totally.
So if you can find, we can help you with this. There's census data on this. You can see which zip codes or areas or towns or cities. You might even know which neighborhoods are the best. So let's say we live in New York City and we know that the Upper East Side is a historically very affluent neighborhood, and the South Bronx is one of the least affluent neighborhoods. If we're able to target moves on the Upper East Side versus the South Bronx, this is night and day. These are like the customers who don't blink an eye at you charging them $10,000 versus customers who are looking to spend like $100 to get a mattress dragged down a flight of stairs. So that's a very extreme example, but it's easy to just place an ad and place it on too big of a blanket, and you're getting some of these guys that you want, some of these guys that you don't, and this is your precious hard-earned money going out, and we want to see you guys to get moving, and we don't want you to be losing money on the wrong things. So I guess just to sum up, in this building this funnel, thinking about it from both the ads, the Google Maps, the word of mouth, the door knocking. If you had to say, kind of, what are your top three lessons for making sure that as guys are working hard, putting in the time and putting in the money, that they make sure they get their ROI, return on investment, on that time and
Yep.
money? What would be kind of your top three tips?
I think the number one tip is to track and learn. So you have all these different, you want a wide, as we described, a wide funnel at the top with a diversified channel set. So you've got, you know, postcards, business cards, you're spending on some ads. That's kind of your marketing channel. You've got networking, you've got your, platforms that you've been on for a long time. You want to basically be measuring across all of those
Yep.
to judge the overall quality, which ones are working. And so say we're spending $1,000 on ads
Yep.
and we see that this channel is doing really well. Well, we maybe move the majority of our money over to that channel and double down on it. And maybe, if you can't manage these all at the same time, don't just have them running to have them running. You're just going to waste money. So make sure that you've got the time to fully understand and do them. I think the other thing is just really to start back at the basics, which we started from the beginning, which is these 5-star reviews. That is worth more
Yep.
than any
No,
paid
me too.
acquisition at all. This is organic. This is what's going to get you, if you've got 50 5-star reviews, Google's going to put you at the top. They're
Yep.
just they're just
Yeah.
going to put you at the top.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So anything you can do on the customer success side in terms of the success of the move, surprising and delighting them. Maybe you bring them a coffee on the day of the move. You stop by, touch Rose and you buy
Yep.
everybody a coffee. Anything you can do to break the stress of that. Buy some dog treats. Maybe they have a dog, so you stop and buy some treats for their dog or something
Yep.
like that. All these things are going to go the extra mile to show that you care, and really those dollars are just going to come back to you in the way of a 5-star review that is worth thousands of dollars in terms of paid acquisition traffic. So I think those are probably the top two. Do you have
Yeah.
a one to round us out?
Yeah, absolutely. I
Third one?
think we can build on that with a really important thing, which I don't see a lot of people doing, and I really don't know why. When you're getting these reviews and you're able to get these 5-star reviews, I would be shouting it from the rooftops, which means go to all your social media channels, make a little selfie video, say, "Hey, I'm Bretton. I'm founder of localmovers.com, and we just got our 100th 5-star review. We're so pleased. We moved Dan over here out of his house into his new home, and he was really pleased with our stuff. He says hi to you. If you can get the customer to do that, it might not be realistic, but you can at least take a photo of the gig and show them what you got done, and splatter that across all of your platforms, everywhere, even your LinkedIn. Be proud of your work and put that stuff out there. It's free amplification of those 5-star reviews that you work so hard to get, and put it right front and center on your page. It may be corny, but I think it's great when I see a moving page and I see a huge big banner at the top that says we are the number one rated mover in our area on Google and Yelp. Immediately, I am ready to book. And so when you're spending that money on that Google ad, you're going to convert so much better when those guys come to your page and they see that you're a top rated mover, and that's just going to seal the deal. So I think that basically is some of the top stuff that comes to my mind.
Yep. I think, like, lastly, just to add on there is social. Like, this is what you're
Yep.
hitting
Yeah.
on, basically. But
Absolutely. Yep.
just want to kind of like clarify that on all the different, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. posting different content across these too, maybe, cross posting, things like that. This is just free organic, right? The algorithms might not take it, but if you're using short clips, you're using videos, these are the things that they're going to pick up, right? If you're always posting a picture, maybe that's not going to get
Yep.
as many eyeballs. But if you're posting on the preferred medium that they want and putting together engaging content, that's just free. That's not even paid acquisition. You're getting that for free. So building that muscle as well, and mixing and matching it with the paid. So when you're running paid, maybe on Meta across these platforms, you're going to get more traffic to your organic stuff and boost that up. And it's just going to get you more followers, more subscribers, more likes. And so you can think about paid traffic really is like a good takeaway, as you need to build these kind of logs of like solid core foundational marketing and sales about the business. It's organic, and it's like the 5-star reviews and just real pieces of your business. And then the paid traffic is kind of like putting gasoline on it. It will take it to the next level. But if you haven't built that foundation, the fire will go out as soon as you put the money
Totally.
out of the channel.
Totally. Yeah. This is your profit machine, your funnel and your advertising. That's where you're gonna get all that money in. And then tune in next week as we begin entering into the operational part of our course, which covers everything from business formation and complying with regulations, covers everything from truck and fleet management, hiring, firing, operations, insurance, basically every part of the business playbook, because that's your cost center. And that's where our goal is, to keep you with that excellence as you grow and scale, and also to keep that cost down and manage. So thanks for tuning in. I'm Brett,
I'm Dan.
and let's get moving.